Hey everyone, so I am back with a training log. It has been a little while, but I wanted to give you guys a look at some of my training here recently. Some of these clips are not professional. They were filmed vertically, not horizontally, so I apologize for the bit of lack of full screen video. But I wanted to just show you guys some clips of what I've been doing here. This is just a leg press, and then you'll see a couple other clips. These are some Romanian deadlifts, really focusing on a slow eccentric. I pretty much, well, I'd say for everything currently, I'm focusing more on form and less on how much weight I'm necessarily moving. Form breakdown, swinging, all those sorts of things will allow you to move more weight, but you have to think about, is it actually effective? Are you actually doing what you are hoping to accomplish in terms of reaching a certain level of hypertrophy? Because if you think about it, the amount of workload that you do, let's say on squats. So let's watch this squat here. So if I just cannonballed it down into the hole and bounced up and then used a ton of my back and used a ton of my quads, which I don't necessarily want to do. My quads tend to overpower everything, so I try to keep everything in my hamstrings and my glutes. My genetics, I just tend to have quads that grow like weeds. Whereas my hamstrings and glutes I have a bit harder time getting to grow as effectively. So what I really have been focusing on here, these are just single leg lifts for abdominal work, is form over everything. I'd say probably the most frequently asked question that I get currently is, here's GHR, I'm really focusing on that contraction. Probably the most frequently asked question I receive is, when will you go back to powerlifting? And so I first started my, I'd say, quote, fitness journey back in 2009, 2010. And the reason I started then was because, and here's some box sweats, was because I was a track athlete up until about 2009, and then I suffered a stress fracture, and I had hopes of running in college, but that did not work out due to my stress fracture as well as a virus that I had my senior year of high school. So I transitioned to bodybuilding, actually. So I did not start powerlifting until the year of 2014, believe it or not. So I had a, alright, little break. Don't mess with girls who shoot guns and grow some pretty epic bicep guns, so just saying. This was a gun course that I took at LEPD. I am working to get my concealed carry, and so this has been a lot of fun. A lot of fun to go shooting. Been getting a lot of pointers and tips, and so seriously, this is like my new hobby, my new favorite thing to do. So here is just showing some warm-ups. I like to do steps with the bands around my knee, 10 each side times 3, and then around my ankles, 10 each side times 3. And then you will also see some adductor warm-ups that I like to do. So this is around my ankles. So some adductor warm-ups that I do in this next clip. I find some sort of a box to put my foot on, and then I drive up with my heel and contract the inner part of my leg. This really helps. So I'm not using my leg on the floor to hoist me up. I'm using my leg that's on the little bench in order to warm up the inside of my leg and to be able to get that activated before any sort of lower body work. So as I mentioned, as I was saying before, I did bodybuilding for about 5 years before I even started powerlifting. And the reason I started powerlifting was because I was just strong, and I had a coach who encouraged me to start powerlifting, and so that was the reason that I just started to do it. I did it on a bit of a whim, actually, and then I just decided to devote a couple of years of training primarily to powerlifting. So after that, my body just kind of broke down. I am pretty tall for my weight class, so 158-pound weight class is what I competed at, 72 kilograms, and I'm over 5'7". So I was a little bit tall. My leverages, I always struggled with bench a bit, and so I just was injured. After several years of primarily focusing on powerlifting, I had a trap injury, my shoulder injury that I've had for 6 years due to a CrossFit workout. That was not fun. My shoulder injury was getting worse. I started to have more back issues, so that's when I transitioned to bodybuilding again. A little dance. We have too much fun at the gym. And so here, these are called Hatfield squats. I really like these. I can keep the focus in my hamstrings, my glutes. So anyways, so I transitioned to bodybuilding again in 2017, and then came away with the WNBF World title as well as the tall title in the OCB European Cup. So I had a very successful season. Believe it or not, I'm actually a better bodybuilder than powerlifter. In terms of powerlifting, I'm really not that strong on a world-class level at all. I'm more competitive in bodybuilding, but the reason I do bodybuilding or do powerlifting or do one or the other, or sometimes did both at the same time, was not because I was necessarily more competitive in one or the other. It's because of what I like to do. And so currently I love hybrid training. I love lifting heavy, but I really have zero plans to compete in powerlifting. I coach powerlifting. I have actually more clients who have competed in powerlifting than bodybuilding. I love getting people stronger. I love working with my athletes and getting them stronger. I love working with women who maybe were afraid to lift heavy and who I can help see that they can lift heavy and still feel great about themselves and feel strong and confident, and goofing around here with my physical therapist. Dev, love you. But for me personally, I really don't want to devote the time or the energy to compete in powerlifting and have my body break down again. I've worked very hard with my physical therapist to heal some of my injuries by improving my motor patterns and by working with her and doing a lot of rehab work, a lot of stability work, a lot of just small exercises in order to improve my motor patterns, get my body back aligned, get back in alignment. And so for me, it just is not a desire. I love coaching powerlifting. I loved what I did, but you know what? I don't have any plans to compete. I think it's easy. Back when I competed in powerlifting and bodybuilding from 2014 to late 2017, I did 7 powerlifting meets and 7 bodybuilding shows in that amount of time. And it actually, I find it easier to have a competition as opposed to be content without having a competition. And right now, I am really content without having a competition. And it took me a long time to get to this place. And I think once you compete a lot, you realize that it actually is harder because, social media, your friends, your family, everyone asking, hyped up for a powerlifting meet, hyped up for a competition, which is great. If you want to do that and that's something that you have the desire to do, that is fabulous. It's exciting. Last year, the hype up to my bodybuilding shows was awesome, and the support I got, and the positive feedback I received, and just the blessings that came along with that. But it almost is like a high at a certain, in certain instances, and it's hard sometimes when you constantly have that high of, let's say you do show after show, meet after meet after meet. With powerlifting, there really is no off season, because I would do nationals, and then I would start prepping for the Arnold, and then right after the Arnold, I might have a summer meet, and then I'd be prepping for nationals, and it just went on and on and on and on and on. And it's like this constant, like, all right, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Well, what if there's not a next thing? Can you be content in your training? Can you be excited about your training and about just being healthy and strong and in shape without having some sort of a carrot kind of dangling in front of you? Favorite energy drink ever, red, white, and blue. Look how beautiful that is. Get yours. America Energy. I love it. It's so good. Way better than Monster. Ugh, Monster stinks. So here's a bit of a body comp. Just look at how I'm looking right now, lean, thick. Maintaining at about 148 to 150 pounds. Probably about 15% body fat. I'm not exactly sure. Last time I had a DEXA scan done, I was right around there. So I am about 20 pounds over stage weight, which is a great place for me to be in. But anyways, so I've reached a point. I had a rough bit of patch of time after my shows last year into the spring, but currently this summer I've just really reached a good point, reached a good phase, and I don't want to have a show, I don't want to have a meet to motivate me. I want to challenge myself to be content and to be happy without a meet, without a show, as I was back when I first started training in 2010 all the way to 2014. I just trained hard because I loved it. I trained hard because I wanted to impress people on social media. I had zero following back then. I wasn't coaching. I wasn't doing anything. I was in school. And so, can I get back to that without that external, let's say, quote, motivation? Can I be content without that? And I think that's the challenge in life sometimes is, are you going to enjoy life without having some sort of a just stimulus, external stimulus of social media attention? And I think a lot of times if you garner a following, you can kind of be influenced by what people tell you should do or shouldn't do. And really, at this point, I'm not at all. I don't really care if, a couple of people tell me that I should go back to powerlifting because I'm doing what's best for me and what's best for my life. So I think it's best if we focus on our lives and how we're improving ourselves in order to be better for other people and contribute to others' lives and to the world and make a difference, as opposed to being critical of others. I really have tried to be less judgmental of other people because you don't know what they're going through, and I sure know how that feels to feel like you're under a microscope. So I really try not to do that to others, and because we all go through different things, we all experience different things, and supporting each other is the best way to go, as opposed to being critical and judgmental. So let's do more of that and make the internet a friendlier place, if possible. But anyways, thank you guys so much for your support. Hope you enjoyed this little voiceover tutorial thing on my training and giving you a little bit of an update of where I'm at. So talk to you soon. Thanks.